well, and I think she will represent the whole state well.
How quick does this transformation of DED have to take place? I mean, come January 14th, you want the framework in place to start from day one as a public-private venture?
Well, that takes legislation, so we're going to work from the present framework that exists, but we are going to envision where we want to go, and we're going to lay that out. We did some of that during the campaign, and we're now going to move forward very aggressively on this, even during the transition before we take office. But we will then need to work through the legislative process to get the changes made that we want to get made. And we'll be working with the leaders in both houses of the legislature and both parties to get that accomplished.
Also, by when you start your administration, do you hope to have your cost-benefit analysis done to know what stays and what goes as far as the programs under DED's umbrella?
I want to ask Debbie to go to work on that right away, but I'm not sure that it can all be accomplished by the time we take office on the 14th of January. That's a very ambitious time frame. But we intend to go to work on that right away, and we want to do, but we want to do a thorough and thoughtful analysis. We don't want to just do a quick and dirty thing. We want to do it right. We want to do it well, so that indeed we can make the best decisions.
Is there a new company or an expansion in back home that you think kind of typifies how you go after jobs?
Well, certainly we're in the process of working with several opportunities that I hope the community is going to be able to close in the next 6 months. But I think, let me just give you an example. When Verizon was closing down their contact center there, which was an old MCI building, they reached out to us, obviously, within the allotted amount of time to let us know as a community that this was going to happen. So we asked them if they would mind if we basically started working our BlackBerries and our contacts around the state. So we reached out to every site selector we had ever worked with, Chris McGowan and myself, and basically found out that we had a very marketable product because we had a workforce that was ready to go and we had a plug-and-play facility. And within a very short time, Stream came in and made their announcement that they would be replacing those jobs. So I think that's what you can expect. We also, we have to be proactive, and we'll have that, but unfortunately the economy forces us to be reactive. And I think what you can expect from this Department of Economic Development is we will be working with those local leaders to say, how can we help you? Let us also call our contacts out there and see if together that we can turn the situation around in a very short period of time. So I think that's an example. If I also could just add, we're in the process of doing extensive research of public-private partnerships across the country. And what I can tell you in my at least initial assessment that there is not a perfect model out there, so Iowa will be creating that perfect model. So we're going to take the best and the lessons that we've learned around the country. We're going to do an assessment of what the department currently has. I do think Director Mills has done some good things on organization. I hope to meet with him and so that we can also implement some of those changes. And the other thing I want to stress is campaigns are very difficult for staffing of governmental bodies, and we all know that. And I have worked with this team at the Department of Economic Development, and I know it is comprised of very dedicated individuals, and I look forward to joining them in their efforts as we move this department forward.
Does that mean you won't clean house? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is that I'm going to do an honest assessment of what skill sets we're going to need going forward. Because if you'll learn anything from me, I'm extremely goal-oriented. I know the goal that has been set for me, and every single day that I go to work and our team goes to work, that's going to be before us. And so we will make sure that we have the staff to enact that goal.
What will the biggest day-to-day difference do you think will be once you get this thing going the way you want it to go versus the way it goes now?
I think the biggest change is I'm going to be out on the road. I'm going to be selling Iowa, not only to Iowans, and let people know what it is we have and the natural resources in which we have to work with, but also to be selling our message not only nationally but globally. And I think that once the team is in staff and the department is operating the way it needs to operate, then you can expect me to be out there on the road.
What will you do to make sure that the department is transparent and accessible to the public and accountable?
Absolutely, and I know that's a concern. I had this very conversation with Senator Branstad last evening, And obviously, when you hear private-public partnership, that's the biggest question of the transparency. What I can assure you, and I'm going to take my lead from Governor Branstad, everything about Governor Branstad in this administration is transparent. And so anything that will have anything to do with any public funds or public funding will certainly meet that threshold of transparency.
Some of the talk here is immediately starting, are you leaving your post in Sioux City, or is there a transition where you'll be
Doing
working
both.
that?
Right now, we're going to do both. There are some things that I would obviously like to finish up in our community and help them with the transition that's going to be taking place there. But in the meantime, I will do what needs to be done as we prepare for this.
What role will business have in forming the new agency and after the agency?
Well, what role they're going to have is actually a great deal of input on the front end. As we come up with a framework, what I'd like to do is to do some testing with some of the business leaders around the state to see this is what we're thinking. Here's the roles that I feel that can enhance the private sector involvement. Certainly, you know, the board is comprised of private sector, but what I envision is that you'll be seeing us do task force as we need to, and you'll be bringing in experts within those industry clusters to really help us format what our game action plan is going to be. So again, you're going to find it, my approach to everything is extremely collaborative. And you will also find that I will work with all parties, with labor, obviously, and management. All of that is important because there is nothing more worthy than us putting Iowans back to work and raising the median income for our citizens. So I can't imagine any greater job.
What do you plan to do with the fall months?
I may well defer that to the governor.
Right. I think at this point, we are evaluating what to do with that and whether that should be in a different agency or where it should be. But no final decision has been made with regard to the film office. We certainly do not intend to get back into the tax credit situation there. I think that was a bad idea, badly run, and we're not going to go that direction. But, you know, we did create the film office back when I was governor before, and we had success, significant success, without the tax incentives. We had Field of Dreams, Bridges of Madison County, Miles from Home, many other successful films. So I don't think we should rule out the possibility of filmmaking in Iowa, but I think we need to make sure that whatever we do is cost effective, and then the taxpayers' interests are always protected.
What agency would be a better fit?
Well, some have suggested the Department of Cultural Affairs might be a place where you could have the film office. But we haven't made a final decision on that. We're carefully reviewing and evaluating different ideas.
Final question.
In regards to your role as the head of the state party, now as governor of the state, and with the caucuses a scant 14 months off, do you have any plans going forward to endorse a particular candidate?
No, at this point, I haven't. I'm not ruling out the possibility at some future date, possibly considering that, but I want to be very welcoming and encourage all potential Republican candidates to come to Iowa, spend their time here. I think I've demonstrated how you can win elections in Iowa. You do it by going to all 99 counties and meeting with a lot of people and articulating a vision and a plan for where you want to lead the state, or in this case, the country. So I certainly want to encourage all potential candidates. I think that's also good for the Iowa economy, frankly. They have the candidates come and spend a lot of time and a lot of money here as well. So I'll do all I can to try to help with that. I assume that Republicans will again do another straw poll during the summer. That also has been a very successful event in the past, and I would certainly want to be supportive and encouragement of the party in putting something like that together as well.
Could you see endorsing somebody who does not participate in the straw poll?
Well, I think not participating certainly is not a very good strategy. So I would certainly encourage people to come and to participate.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.